jage Dvijamani Goramani bhaje Horilo Aruna Purabhaje Dvijamani Goramani jage Vakata sammoha loela sate Jelana karabraje Vakata sammoha loela sate Jelana karabraje Tatai patai bhajalako Gana gana tahe janjero Tatai tatai bhajalako Gana gana tahe janjero Tatai tatai bhajalako Gana gana tahe janjero Preme dalla dalla sonaranga Charanino purabhaje Preme dalla dalla sonaranga Charanino purabhaje Mukunda Madhava Yadava Hari Bolena Polore Bandana Pori Mukunda Madhava Yadava Hari Bolena bolore bandhana pore Nichi niravase kelore rati Divasha sharira sahate Nichini javase jelore rati Divasa sharira sahate Emana durlabha manavadeha Ayaki koro bhavana keha durlabha manava deho kaya ki koro bhavana deho. Hhbvvn bhajile yashoda sutta Sarani pori vilaje. Hhbvvn bhajile yashoda sutta Sarani pori vilaje. Udita tapanga hoile asa Dina jala bale hoile asa. Udita tapanga hoile asa Dina jala bale hoile asa. Bekhnoi de Allah sahoy na bachare dhaya raje. Bekhnoi de Allah sahoy na bachare dhaya raje. Jivana anitya jana hasan kahe nana veda vipadabha. Jivana nitya jana hasan kahe nana veda vipadabha. Namashaya kori athani tumi thaka panaka haje. Namashaya kori athani tumi thaka panaka haje. Jivera kalyana sadhana kam jagati asi madhuranam. Jivera kalyana sadhana kam jagati asi madhuranam. Avidyati nirathakan rupe Hhbvvn virahate. मेरा सफाया रूपे गगने विराजे Krishna nam Sudha Kori Hapan Yuro Bhakati Vinoda Pran Krishna nam Sudha Kori Hapan Yuro Bhakati Vinoda Pran Nama bina kichu nahi koara Toda bhuvana mahaje Nama bina kichu nahi koara Toda bhuvana mahaje Chicago, Gora Tanda Bole Chicago, Gora Tanda Bole Kota Nidra Yayo Maya Tishatira Kole Kota Nidra Yayo Maya Tishatira Kole Vati Gopaliya Ese Samsara Bikare Vati Gopaliya Ese Samsara Bikare Bhuliya rohile tumi Hhbvvn bhare Bhuliya rohile tumi Hhbvvn bhare Omare lohete ami haino avatara Omare lohete kami haino avatara Ami dina bandua Keyate tomara Ami dina bandua Keyate tomara Enete oshadi maya Nashi paralagi Enete oshadi maya Nashi paralagi Hare Nama Mahamantra Lotumi Mahadi Hare Nama Mahamantra Lotumi Mahadi Bhakati Vinoda Prabhu Sarane Pariya Bhakati Vinoda Prabhu Sarane Pariya Hey Hari Nama Mantra Loila Magiya Hey Hari Nama Mantra Loila Magiya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Bharadhari Gopi Jana Bala Bhagiri Bharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Prajatana Rangana Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gosvimanande Haribo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Praeshu Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter number 25, the description of the characteristics of King Puranjan. Today text number 3. Prachina Barhisham Shatha Prachina Barhisham Shatha Karmasva Saktamanasam Karmasva Saktamanasam Narado Dhyatma Tattvajna Narado Dhyatma Tattvajna Kripalu Pratyabodhayat Kripalu Pratyabodhayat Prachina Barisham Shatha Karmasva Saktamanasam Narado Jatma Tattvajna Kripalo Pratyabodhayat Prachina Prachina Barhisham Shatha Karma Svasakta Manasam Narado Jyatma Tatvaknya Kripalu Pratyabodhaya
Prachina Barhi Samsatta Karma Swasakta Manasam Narado Dhyatma Tatvanya Kripalu Pratyabodhaya
Prachina Bhakti Samsata
Prachina Barhi Samsatta
Amasvakata Manasam
Karma Swasakta Manasam
Sado Jatmam Tatvadya
Narado Dhyatma Tatvanya
Anupratya Pujan
Kripalu Pratyabodhaya
Prachina Bhakti Samsata
Prachina Barhi Samsatta
Karma Svasakta Manasam
Karma Swasakta Manasam
Narado Dhyatma Tatvaya
Narado Dhyatma Tatvanya
Kripalu Pratyabodhaya
Kripalu Pratyabodhaya Prachina Barhi Samsatta Karma Swasakta Manasam Narado Dhyatma Tatvanya Kripalu Pratyabodhaya Prachina Barhi Samsatta Karma Swasakta Manasam Narado Dhyatma Tatvanya Kripalu Pratyabodhaya
Nobody else? Okay. Prachina Barisham
Prachina Barhi Samsatta
unto King Prachina Barisha
Unto King Prachina Barhi
Shata
Samsatta
O Vidura
O Vidura
Karmasu in fruitive activities
Fruitive activities
Asakta attached Manasam with this mentality
with this mentality
Narada the great sage Narad Adhyatma spiritualism Tatvajna one who knows the truth
one who knows the truth
Kripalo being compassionate
being compassionate
Pratyabodhayat
Pratyabodhaya
gave instructions.
gave instructions.
Translation. While the princes were undergoing severe austerity in the water, their father was performing different types of fruitive activities. At this time, the great saint Narad, master and teacher of all spiritual life, became very compassionate upon the king and decided to instruct him about spiritual life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As pointed out by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Hhbvvn, or merging into the Brahman effulgence, is just like going to hell. He similarly states that elevation to the upper planetary systems for the enjoyment of heavenly life is just so much phantasmagoria. This means that a devotee does not give any importance to the ultimate goal of the karmis and jnanis. The ultimate goal of the karmis is promotion to the heavenly kingdom. And the ultimate goal of the jnanis is merging into the Brahman effulgence. Of course, the jnanis are superior to the karmis, as confirmed by Lord Chaitanya. Koti karma nishta madhye eka jnani shreshta. One jnani or impersonalist is better than many thousands of fruitive actors. Therefore, a devotee never enters upon the path of karma or elevation by fruitive activities. Narada Muni took compassion upon King Prachinabarhishat when he saw the king engaged in fruitive activity. In comparison to mundane workers, those who are trying to be elevated to the higher planetary systems by performing yajnas are undoubtedly superior. In pure devotional service, however, both karmis and jnanis are considered bewildering features of the illusory energy. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chatsurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we're hearing about the situation. Here we heard the princes, the sons of King Prachinabarhishat. They had gone to do tapasya by going into the water and submerging themselves in the water, and at the same time reciting the mantra or the song given to them by Lord Shiva. So this song which was given to them by Lord Shiva, that would allow them to awaken their devotion. But their father, Maharaj Prachinabarhishat, he was performing different kinds of activities. He was engaging in some different kinds of fruitive activities. In other words, he wanted to get some material benefit from the activities he was performing. So Srila Prabhupada explains how there are different attitudes in performing these kind of ritualistic activities. One class of people are the karmis. The karmi means the fruitive worker. They want to enjoy the result. Now karmis, they may be following the Vedas, but they want to enjoy the result. The Vedas describe a lot of karmic activities, how you can get a lot of material enjoyment. And the ultimate enjoyment is to go to the higher planets. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Radha Krishna Kanaya. The ultimate enjoyment is when you can go to the higher planets, to the heavenly planets. On the heavenly planets, you'll have long life and you'll have a lot of opulence. There's no disease there. There's no COVID to worry about. And you don't have to have vaccines and things. So the life on the higher planets it's of a much higher standard than the standard of life which we have here. And some people think that that is the goal of life. They think we should try to go to the higher planets. But there's a problem. And the problem is that you go to the higher planets, you cannot stay there forever. You can go and visit for some time, but you have to come back. Just like people live in Malaysia and they like to go to Australia or they like to go to America, but then after some time they have to come back, right? Unless they become permanent citizens here. Unless they get PR or green, whatever, green card or something, so they can stay there. But it's like that. You use up your piety and then you come back. You go to the higher planets because you do a lot of pious activities. You perform rituals according to the Vedas and you get good results. The results may vary. Some people may just want enjoyment in this life. They may just simply want opulence. They may want success or fame. And they're performing different pious activities to get it. Sometimes they give charity. Sometimes they do yagyas. And sometimes they perform austerities. So here we were hearing the prachetas, they were doing austerity. And why were they doing austerity? They were going to come back and rule the kingdom. So they wanted to be in control of their mind and senses. When they come back to rule the kingdom, they have to be the controller of their mind and senses. And then they can be a good king. And when the king is good, then everybody benefits, everyone prospers. If the king is bad, then the whole kingdom suffers, everyone suffers. So, some people are karmis. They want to enjoy the material world. They're following the Vedas, they're pious, but they're on the material platform. They will go to the higher planets, come back. Some other people, they're frustrated with the material world. They're not getting any real happiness out of the material world. So they're looking to go beyond the material world, to get out of the material world. They are called jnanis, impersonalists. They want to get out of the material world, and their thinking is that out of the material world there will be only the oneness. There will only be the Brahman, the light. So their goal is to merge into that light, to enter into that effulgence. That is the goal of the impersonalists, or the jnanis, people who practice jnana yoga. Generally they want to merge, they want liberation, which is called sayujya mukti, entering into the oneness of the Brahman. They think material life means suffering. So long as you have a material body, there will be suffering. So the jnanis, they want to give up their identity. They think to be a person means you will have to suffer. So they want to give up their personality, to give up their identity. And they want to do it by merging, by entering into that effulgence of the Brahman. So this is also not the correct idea. Although Prabhupada quotes from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya had explained these things, especially to Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was one of the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he met Lord Chaitanya. Well, first of all, they met at Ramakeli, where Rupa and Sanatan were both living. And later on, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami left Ramakeli and they came to join Lord Chaitanya. But they came at different times. First of all, Rupa Goswami came and he met Lord Chaitanya at the place where the Ganges meets the Yamuna, at the place known as Prayag. And so Lord Chaitanya met Rupa Goswami there and he instructed him for 10 days. And then he told Rupa Goswami, go to Vrindavan, go and stay in Vrindavan. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya explained to Rupa Goswami that the jnana, the path of karma and the path of jnana are not going to give you the goal of life. They're going to give you only some limited pleasure. The karmi wants to enjoy the material world. So they go to the higher planets and they enjoy, the atmosphere of the heavenly planets. What is it like there? Well, everyone is very happy, they're all very attractive, and they're all opulent, they have all kinds of opulence, but it's all temporary. They cannot stay there forever, and they will fall back after some time. And the jnani, he doesn't want the happiness of the material world, because he knows that is not reality. He wants to get, he feels the happiness of the material world is just illusory. It is not real pleasure. And he feels that even where there's some happiness, there's also some suffering. Just like Gopkumar, in the book called the Hhbvvn, it describes how a cowherd boy from Govardhan got a mantra from his guru. and he was able to travel with this mantra, and he went to different places. He went to the heavenly planets, but he found on the heavenly planets there was also problems there. Sometimes people would argue with each other. Sometimes Indra would have an affair with another woman who was not his wife. And sometimes the demons would come and attack the demigods. So even you go to the heavenly planets, don't think there's no problem. There are problems there. There's also problems, there's quarrel sometimes, and disagreements. These things are there. You cannot get away from them. So, Gopkumar decided he didn't want to be in the heavenly planets. So the karmis, they want to enjoy the heavenly planets. The jnanis, they feel, no, if you're still a person, there's going to be suffering. Better is to give up our identity. And the way in which they give up their identity is by merging into the oneness, into the Brahman. Become one with the light, you see. This is the idea of the impersonalists. People who practice this, they're called jnana yogis. So these people generally, they will read, they're very fond of reading the Upanishads. They don't much like books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam or the Puranas, but they like the Vedas. They like to read the Vedas. The Vedas are known as Shruti, but the Bhagavad Gita and the Puranas, they are Smriti. And there's a difference between the Shruti and the Smriti. The Shruti refers to the hearing process, and the Smriti is remembering. So anyway, these jnanis, impersonalists, they will read the Upanishads. The Upanishads come from the Vedas. Just like we have our book, Ishopanishad. So it's from the Yajurveda. There are 4 Vedas. The Upanishads all come from, there are many Upanishads. We only have one Upanishad, we have the Ishopanishad, but there are many other Upanishads. And those people practicing Jnana Yoga, the impersonalists, they like to read the Upanishads. If you go to the place where they practice this system, they will speak from the Upanishads. Kali Santara Upanishad. There are many different Upanishads. Sometimes we will quote the Upanishads. We like to quote especially the Ishopanishad, but there are many other Upanishads. So the jnanis, they only read the Upanishads, and they will not accept Bhagavad Gita. If you say Bhagavad Gita, they will say Bhagavad Gita, no, we don't accept Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is written by Vyasadeva, we don't accept. The Vedas come from, the Vedas are eternal spiritual knowledge. They're not from any ordinary man. So the Vedas are perfect. So in this way the jnanis, they will not accept the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyway, the jnanis, their goal is to merge, enter into the oneness. It's spiritual suicide. People sometimes they kill their bodies, they will commit suicide. Sometimes you get young people, they're not satisfied, they're very unhappy, I was in Bengal one time, and we were staying in one Bengali person's house, and the man told us, he said, my son committed suicide. So we were surprised, you know, they're living in a Bengali village, and it seemed very sattvic, it seemed very much the mode of goodness. So I was surprised. I said, why your son committed suicide? He said, the father told me, he said, because my son said, he said, you don't have any wealth, you're not rich, I don't want to be in your family. So he committed suicide. You know, sometimes people are like that. They no, I don't want to be here in this world. They commit suicide. So of course that's very bad, very sinful. People who commit suicide, they will not get a body in the next life. They will have to become ghosts. They will have only the subtle body. So that's material suicide. Impersonalism is spiritual suicide. Because the impersonalists, they want to deny their existence as an individual. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, Na tvevaham jatu nasham, na tvam neme janadipa, na chaivana bhavishyama sarvevayam ataparam. Lord Krishna is saying, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all of these kings, nor in the future will any of us ever cease to be. So Lord Krishna is pointing out the eternal nature of each and every individual entity. He says, never was there a time when I, nor you, nor all of these kings. Lord Krishna was in the middle of the battlefield, just prior to the battle of Kurukshetra. So Lord Krishna is pointing out, I, you, and all of the kings, all of us, we're all eternal spiritual beings. And there's never a time when we don't exist, either in the past or in the future. So, and Lord Krishna also speaks more about the soul, that najayate, mriyate, vachaka. For the soul there's no birth and there's no death. And it cannot be cut by any weapon, burned by fire, moistened by the wind. The soul is spiritual and it's not affected by any material situation. So, knowing all of these things, we do not accept the proposition of the Jnanis to merge into the oneness. Because the Jnani's idea is that now I'm an individual. And if I have to keep my individuality, if I have to remain a person, then to be a person means I will suffer. Of course, in the material world, we could say that's true. But you don't have to remain in the material world. You see, you can go beyond the material world. You can get out of the material world and go to the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, there's no old age, there's no disease, and there's no death. You can remain in the spiritual world and enjoy eternal spiritual life. So the solution to the problem is not to commit suicide spiritually, but to enter into the spiritual kingdom, to enter into the spiritual planets and to engage in activities with a spiritual body. Get rid of the material body and have our own spiritual body. The spiritual body does not take birth it does not die. And we all have a spiritual body. But at the moment, our spiritual body is covered by the material body. This material body is covering our spiritual nature. And just like we wear our clothing to cover our physical body, the same way our physical body is covering our spiritual body. And we have to free ourselves from karma, from the effects of the material energy, and then we can develop our spiritual body. So the jnanis, their thinking is to merge, enter into the oneness, become one with, and they give examples, stupid examples. They say, just like the water flows into the ocean, the rivers all flow into the sea and becomes one with the sea. So we should become one with the ocean. So this is not a very good example. We point out that in the ocean, well, or in the rivers, there are also fish. And the fish come and swim into the ocean. And they keep their individuality. They don't give up their individuality when they enter into the ocean. They keep their individuality. We want to understand these. Some examples are proper and some are not. We should understand how to defeat these different arguments. Particularly, we point out to people that it's stated in the Upanishads, it's a Nityo Nityanam Chaitananas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vedati Kaman. Amongst all eternal beings, there is one supreme eternal person. And amongst all conscious living entities, there is one supremely conscious living entity. And that one Supreme Lord is providing the needs of all others. So this statement from the Upanishads describe that there is a Supreme and the others are being taken care of by that Supreme. That one Supreme person. The Jnanis, the impersonalists, they're saying it's all one. They're saying there's no Supreme. There's only the Brahman, only the oneness. And they describe that oneness as being light. But the scriptures, and even the Vedas, they tell us that there is a Supreme. There's one Supreme who is providing for everyone else. So we want to understand properly the nature of spiritual existence. That if you enter into the light, there's no suffering there, but there's no real enjoyment there either. If you enter into that effulgence and become one, there's no enjoyment. There's no variety. There's no relationships. Just like if you go to the Buddhist temple, maybe you go to the Buddhist temple for a weekend meditation, they will tell you, don't talk to anyone. Don't even look at people. Just sit and meditate. Right? And they'll do that the whole weekend. And people will think, oh, very spiritual. There's no suffering, but there's no enjoyment. There's no enjoyment either, because there's no relationships. Don't speak to anybody. Don't try to make... No, you're not here to make... And that, because the Buddha's teaching is nothing. You don't exist. Nothing is real. So take a brick and beat them on the head and tell them it's all right, it's not real. It's a crazy philosophy. But people are crazy. They accept these kind of teachings. So we have to understand what is real spiritual life. Spiritual life is not don't see, don't hear, don't speak. That is not spiritual life. That is not sinful. It's not sinful, but it's not spiritual. Spiritual life is to use everything for the service of the Supreme, to use our senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. We use our tongue to chant and to speak the glories of Lord Krishna. We use our ears to hear about Krishna. And we use our eyes to see the beauty of the deities. So our senses can be used in the service of Krishna. And when we use our senses in this way, the result is we become purified and we can experience real pleasure. People, karmis, they're thinking, oh, I'm enjoying meat, fish and eggs. I'm enjoying smoking my drugs. I'm enjoying my beer. You know, they do not know what is real enjoyment. That pleasure which they're experiencing, that is actually, it's all suffering. You know, the things which they do, there's no real happiness in them. That is the happiness of the dogs and the pigs. The pig is also thinking, I'm enjoying, the farmer is bringing me the big bucket of pig food, and the pig is thinking, yum, yum, yum. They're thinking pleasure. They do not know what is real pleasure. So we have to purify our senses first of all. Then we can experience real pleasure. So this has to be understood. And real spiritual life is pleasurable. You are not experiencing any pleasure, you must be doing something wrong. You are not properly chanting, you're not engaging properly in devotional activities. Therefore, you're not experiencing any pleasure. Prabhupada gives the example, just like if you have a jar of honey and the jar is sealed. You can lick the jar, but there's no taste. There's no pleasure in just licking the outside of the jar. You have to open the jar and go in and taste the honey. And the same way, in practicing bhakti yoga, we have to engage ourselves in the activities of devotion. We have to faithfully hear and chant, and we have to come and see the deities and these different activities. They're all very powerful, and they will purify us. We will experience real pleasure. The nature of the soul is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. But if we're only in the body consciousness, we will not feel that. The nature of the body is miserable. So we want to be careful to guard against spiritual ignorance. Okay, any question? Yes?
我想问的问题就是，奉献者想在这个物质世界，保持稳定，这个想法是对的。物质的还有灵性都想稳定。
保持稳定。
Keep steady in this material world.
Huh?
Keep steady.
What should?
Is that alright to maintain steady in material world and in spiritual world?
To maintain what?
Maintain the steadiness.
In material world?
Yeah, in spiritual world.
保持稳定.
保持稳定.
Yeah. Well, she's asking, yeah, is it all right to be steady in material life? Or is it only in spiritual life we should? Well, of course we have to be steady. You have to be regular in your practice. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains about these things in the 6th chapter, chapter 6, controlling the mind. He says, don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. We should be regulated in our activities of recreation and working and these things. Yes, there should be regulation. The devotee life is regulated. Just like in material life, you know, if you go to school or you have a job, there's a time you go to work, there's a time you finish the work. And so, similarly in spiritual life also, we have our spiritual program. Wake up certain time, Mongol Arti, worshipping the deities. We're having the morning program. We have the evening program. So these things are regulated. And Prabhupada liked to see that he liked that our temples are very regulated. Prabhupada himself was regulated. He liked to wake up in the middle of the night and he would write. And then early in the morning he liked to go out for a walk every morning. And he'd always come back in time for the deity greeting, and the devotees would offer Guru Puja to him. Then he would give a class. So it was very regulated. And Prabhupada said, just like in the military, if you join the army, then they will teach you to be regulated, disciplined, military discipline. In the same way, spiritual discipline is there. Everywhere there should be some discipline. Without discipline, then we'll be uncivilized. So yes, you should try to be regulated, but at the same time there will be circumstances where it will be difficult. Just like in family life, sometimes it will be difficult to be regulated. Sometimes you have, maybe your child gets sick, you have to take care of him. Maybe he's awake in the night, you cannot get proper rest. Sometimes you have to take care of your husband, different things, social functions to attend. You have to be able to adjust. You cannot expect that every day you can be regulated, although that's very good. Because then if you are very regulated, then it's easier to control your mind and senses. If you're not regulated then it becomes very difficult to control the mind and senses. So having a regulation is very helpful for us to control the mind and senses. But you have to be tolerant and understand that sometimes it's not possible. But things like that change, you know, just like you have a young child, they want so much attention, they grow up. They're not children forever. They do grow up and they go off and they have their own life. And then you're free, then you can be regulated. So you have to be patient and tolerant. And at the same time, within your mind you should desire to be regular, to keep a regulation. You want to keep that desire in your mind, that I want to be regulated. Regulation certainly helps for our Krishna consciousness. Any other question? Yes?
在至尊奥义书里面有个师姐说，灵魂自杀这个灵魂呢，它就会永远堕在黑暗当中。840万种生物体的这种轮回，现在得到人生之后，如果没有修习推察知觉，又重新再一次轮回，是指从一个当细胞又再轮回，就840万种轮亡到人体才可以，是吧？
最后一个？
就是轮回人体，840万种。生命体轮回到人体，如果没有用好这个人体，那再一次轮回又是从当细胞的那种开始轮回吗？
就是 do we have to take again the body again?
The body again. So if you want to come back to the human being, you just have to go back to the first step again to come back to become a human being.
Like the ants.
Yeah, it's endless. The cycle of birth and death is endless. You go through the 8,400,000 different species of life, and you can go up and then down and up and then down. But it's going on continually. It's like a wheel, Ferris wheel. The wheel is rotating. So our soul is like that. It's in the wheel. And we're going up. Sometimes you go up to the higher planets and you're a demigod, and sometimes you go down and you go down, and sometimes you're a bird, and sometimes you're a worm, and you get eaten by the bird. You go through all the different species of life. So you stay in that wheel of birth and death until you become Krishna conscious. So we're called Nitya-Baddha, eternally conditioned souls. Right? There's Nitya-Mukta and Nitya-Baddha. Nitya-Mukta means the eternally liberated soul, and Nitya-Baddha means eternally conditioned souls. We are eternally conditioned souls. Means we've been in this material world so long, we cannot remember. We've been round the 84 lakh species many times. We don't remember. So we're eternally conditioned. But we can become liberated, we can get free, we can become a Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul, by devotional service. The Jnanis, they can also become liberated, but their process is very troubled. It's a lot of effort, a lot of work, They have to endeavor for many lifetimes to get free from the material world. And they get only Sayujya Mukti. They do not enter into the spiritual planets. They only enter into the light. They enter into that light, into that oneness. And they stay there for some time. But it's very boring there. There's no activity, no variety, no relationship. The soul, by nature, wants activity. And if we don't get activity, then we'll go some other place to find the activity. So the soul may go to the Brahman, but no activity. You get bored there, you come back to the material world. You come back to the material world and take up some welfare activities. Hhbvvn, serving the society. They don't know what is spiritual activity. The impersonalists, they want to stop all activity. They think any activity means karma. But we understand that if you do activities for Krishna, no karma. But they're saying any activity karma. So they want to stop all activity. But that is artificial. The soul, the nature of the soul is to be active. And if we don't have activities, we come back to the material world. And we remain in the material world. You remain there, nitya bada, rotating through all the different species. Yes?
做到谦卑，
to become humble.
How to become humble? More chanting. Offer all respects to others. Aman ena manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Offer respect to others and don't expect to get any respect for yourself. Become the servant. Don't try to be the master. Serve the devotees. Okay. How to overcome fear? Well, fear is because of our bodily conception. And so we have to get rid of the bodily conception of life, and then you will be fearless. Bhaja Harimana Sri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vinduri. Durlabha Manava Janamasat Sange Tarahoye Bhavosin. We take shelter of Lord Krishna. Fix the mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And in this way we will become fearless. So fear is caused because of our identification with the body and our attachment to the things in relation with the body. So we have to change that attachment to Krishna. We cannot just simply give up attachment, but we can purify attachment by directing the attachment towards Krishna. So the more we're attached to Lord Krishna, the less we will have fear. So, how to become attached to Krishna? Chanting the holy name, engaging more in Krishna's service, hearing, reading the books and hearing Katha will help us to become more attached to Krishna. Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
我一直这几年努力的训练自己，希望达到自己的自信，但总感觉自己内在的空虚不在那。
Yashoda Mai.
这几年一直在训练自己，改变自己的表现。
These few years, she tried to correct her person, her character.
Huh?
Try to correct herself.
Try to correct herself.
找到自己的底部，然后总感觉有冲突。
Always a conflict. You try to become a better person actually, better character, but still have a lot of conflict, a lot of problem.
自己跟自己打架。
Fighting herself.
Well, you have to be patient and you have to be determined to change yourself. Yeah, if you practice devotional service, then gradually you can change yourself. It may take some time, but you should be determined. Okay, Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.